If you want to make the most delicious pasta dishes that also love your body back, then you're in the right place. The truth is, pasta isn't unhealthy like you've probably been told. You may just be approaching it in the wrong way. Today, I'll give you at least 5 ways that you can make pasta into a wholesome dish that you feel good about serving any day of the week. Oh, and by the way, my name is George. I've been cooking since I was 12 years old, and I share a new plant-based recipe or cooking video every week. The first way we're boosting the nutrients in our pasta recipes is with hidden veggies. I've got 2 ways to do this. The first way is a super simple green pasta sauce. We'll start by getting the pasta on. I've got the water boiling and I'm just going to add a nice little pinch of salt, and then we're going to pour in our pasta. Now I'm using brown pasta for the added fiber, vitamins and minerals, but you're welcome to use white pasta if you prefer it. You could also use a pea or lentil based pasta. It's going to be higher in protein, but personally I don't love the texture, whereas brown pasta I do really love. Keep up a nice rapid boil so that the pasta doesn't stick to itself, and it's going to help it cook nice and evenly. While the pasta is cooking, we're going to get the sauce going. This is a really easy way of getting additional greens into your diet. And when you've got the basil, the garlic, and the nutritional yeast in there, it's really tasty and you can barely taste the greens. Into my blender, I'm going to add some plant-based milk. You can use any one of your choice. Then I'm adding frozen spinach, which I've just defrosted in some boiling water. Also some frozen peas. They've got some good protein in them as well, actually. I love using frozen vegetables as they're often cheaper and super convenient, as you don't have to worry about them going off in your fridge. They can also be healthier than fresh vegetables as they're flash frozen soon after being harvested, retaining a lot of the nutrients. Whereas fresh vegetables can take days or even weeks before they go from the farm onto your plate. A nice bunch of fresh basil. There are some stalks in there, which is going to be absolutely fine as the blender will sort them out. A couple cloves of garlic, 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. If you're not using nutritional yeast in your cooking, then that needs to change. It's packed with B vitamins, zinc, fiber, and protein. It's worth noting that not all nutritional yeast is the same. Some are fortified with B vitamins, such as this Engevita one. It tends to be the supermarket brands which are fortified, and then the ones you buy online in bulk typically are not. About a half teaspoon of miso for a nice little tang and saltiness. And some grated nutmeg just adds a really nice sort of nutty, almost warm, comforting flavor to the sauce. A good grating of black pepper. A small pinch of salt, as we've already got the miso in there. And then I'm just going to juice half a lemon for a bit of nice freshness and tang in there. You can really use any greens in here, whether that's parsley, rocket, kale, edamame beans, it's totally up to you. The pasta's cooked al dente, and I've just got a colander over a pan here so that I can keep some of that really nice starchy pasta water. I'm also adding about 100 ml of the pasta water, which I did just let cool down a little bit as my blender isn't made for hot liquids. And now all we have to do is blend it up. So I'm just going to add the sauce to the pasta now, and then we can just heat it through. If you cook the pasta al dente, it will now absorb that delicious green sauce. I'm going to finish it off with a little bit of nutritional yeast, some rocket, and a little drizzle of olive oil. Really simple, tasty and nutritious. I'd probably add some lentils or some tofu on the side just for some extra protein, maybe some extra veggies as well, like some broccoli, and there you've got a really quick and easy, tasty lunch or dinner. Next, we're going to make a hidden veggie tomato sauce, which is not only great for kids, but also just for maximizing the amount of nutrients you're getting into your pasta sauces. So as always, I'm going to secure my chopping board. I've got this really handy mat here that I just got off Amazon, and it keeps the chopping board super secure, doesn't slide at all, so it's gonna be nice and safe. So we're simply going to grate the courgette and carrot. This is really just your classic tomato sauce, starting with some onions, and we're also going to add in our carrots and courgettes at the exact same time. It looks like a lot now, but that was literally half a courgette and half a carrot. So it is going to cook down once the moisture's sort of been cooked out of it. I'm going to add a little dried thyme and dried oregano. A bay leaf would be nice as well if you've got one. You can have this over a fairly high heat, as the courgette and the carrot have a lot of moisture in them, so that's going to prevent anything from burning. That's cooked down nicely now, and I'm just going to zest in a couple of garlic cloves. Love using a zester for the garlic, it's just really quick and easy. Then just let that garlic cook for maybe a minute or two before we add in the chopped tomatoes. Then in goes those chopped tomatoes. Of course, you can use fresh tomatoes if you'd like. Always wash out your can with some water just to make sure you get all of the chopped tomatoes out. You can really add any grated vegetable that you'd like, whether that's leek, celery, red pepper, anything you've got in your fridge, get it in there and you're going to get some nice bonus nutrients. And we'll just let that simmer for maybe 10 minutes and you can go away and do whatever you like while that cooks. Such as meditation, or do a few squats, or contemplate the meaning of life. Okay, that's looking good. We're just going to add a touch of balsamic vinegar for a nice bit of tang, just maybe 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon, and about 1/4 teaspoon of Marmite to add a really nice umami richness. Most of you probably have, but if you haven't watched my video dedicated to Marmite, then I'll link it in the top right of the video right now. Also going to add just a tiny pinch of sugar, just to sort of balance out the sort of tartness of the tomatoes, and a good grating of black pepper, of course. And then just serve on your favorite pasta. I love using nutritional yeast almost as like a parmesan over the top to add a nice sort of savory goodness. So this is really simple. It is essentially tomato sauce and some extra veggies, but it's really just to show that you can boost the nutrients of your meals with some simple tweaks like grating the veggies, or you could add extra nutritional yeast. You could add some ground up flaxseed at the end. Just make sure to do it at the end so the heat doesn't degrade the nutrients. But yeah, really nice. The grated veg adds a nice bit of extra texture, and I think it's not just for kids, adding in these hidden veggies. So yeah, give it a go. Creamy pasta dishes are often associated with dairy products such as cream, butter, or cheese, but you can make really indulgent pasta just by blending up nuts, tofu, or even butter beans. For this carbonara, we're combining tofu and cashews to make a really delicious creamy pasta sauce. You could just use the tofu or the cashews, but by combining the two, we're getting a variety of different nutrients, such as protein from the tofu, and then we're going to get some lovely healthy fats from the cashews. Then I've got some sliced mushrooms. I've just got some white ones here, but any variety will do. Portobello, chestnut, it's totally up to you. I've cooked some wholemeal spaghetti until al dente, and I'm just going to drain it and keep some of the pasta water for the sauce. I always like to cook my pasta al dente, which means it still has a slight bite to it. You can do this by simply cooking it 1 or 2 minutes shorter than the packet instructions. The firmer pasta takes longer for your body to digest, which means your blood sugars are going to remain stable rather than hiking up and then falling back down. For the mushrooms, we'll just heat up a pan over a medium-high heat. Then once it's hot, add about a tablespoon of olive oil or an oil of your choice. Then once that oil is really hot, add in your mushrooms. And that sizzle is exactly what we want to be hearing. It's important to not stir the mushrooms too much and just leave them still and let them get some nice caramelization and color on them. Once the mushrooms are coloring nicely, you can add a little pinch of salt and a good grating of black pepper. The mushrooms are looking really nice now, so I'm just going to add in the minced garlic. I've turned the heat down just a little bit so we don't burn the garlic, as that's going to make it really bitter if we do. Now for the sauce, very simple. We're just going to add plant milk to a blender. I've got some oat milk, but you can use whichever you like. I'm going to add some cashews, which I've had soaking in boiling water just for about 40 minutes. Then I've got 100 grams of firm tofu going in for a bit of a protein boost. 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. And I thought I had some black salt, which would add a nice sort of almost cheesy, eggy flavor. but I don't, so I'm just gonna add a little pinch of regular salt. Also just a 1/4 teaspoon of white miso for a bit of tang and saltiness. And then just blend it up. So the garlic's been cooked out a bit now, and we can add in our spaghetti. Let's just add it all, in fact. There we go. And then our creamy sauce. A nice sprinkling of fresh parsley, and it wouldn't be a carbonara without loads of black pepper. If you're Italian, don't come after me for this dish. It's definitely not authentic, but at least it's cruelty-free and it's going to be delicious. If you did need to loosen it up a bit, you could just add a splash of the pasta water. Mine's looking really nice, just needed loosening up just a little bit. A tablespoon of pasta water is all it needed. That is looking really delicious, and now we just need to plate up. And then a little sprinkling of that fresh parsley and another crack of black pepper. Creamy and indulgent mushroom pasta without any of the dairy. That was honestly so good. Creamy, indulgent, you can't taste the tofu at all. This is a great one to serve to people who are maybe curious about becoming plant-based and you want to cook them something really delicious that's going to help convert them. Making a salad is a great way to boost the nutrients in your pasta dishes. You can really go to town with adding a variety of different plants, whether that's vegetables, fruits, nuts and seeds, and then just add a really delicious dressing and you're on to a winner. It's also great for using up leftover store cupboard or fridge ingredients. Here's a really simple pasta salad recipe that comes together in no time at all. It's full of color and full of flavor. I'm just starting off with some cold brown pasta. Then we're going in with 1 diced red pepper, cherry tomatoes. I've got these lovely juicy sliced green olives that we're just going to add. Some fresh parsley and fresh basil. I've then got some toasted nuts. You could use toasted seeds if you want. I've got toasted hazelnuts here. You could also use pine nuts or almonds. Cashews would be nice as well. And then a nice handful of fresh rocket. This is going to be quite a full bowl. And then I've just mixed up a quick dressing, which is olive oil, some Italian herbs, a lemon juice, and a little bit of maple syrup. And then just mix it up and get it all nice and combined. If you wanted to add some extra protein, it'd be great to get some pui lentils in here, or maybe some butter beans, anything like that would be really good. And there you go, that is a quick way of turning pasta into a really healthy and nourishing meal. That is seriously all you want from a pasta salad. You've got nuttiness and crunch coming from the hazelnuts, juiciness from the cherry tomatoes and red pepper, a bit of pepperiness from the rocket, and then you get a sort of tangy saltiness from the olives. Really tasty. It's so funny how our taste buds change. When I was a kid, I would literally eat plain pasta for breakfast, and I would have never believed you if you had told me that I'd be eating olives, cherry tomatoes, rocket when I'd be older. So yeah, if there's something you don't like, just keep trying it, and maybe one day it will become your favorite food. Now, I'm sure you've been there. You cook a little bit too much pasta and you end up eating your body weight in pasta for lunch. And then you end up passed out on the sofa, struggling to get anything done for the rest of the day. Well, that is where portion control comes in. Now, I'm definitely not against indulging in a massive bowl of creamy pasta every now and again, but on a day-to-day basis, there's a better way to do it. Well, that is where the balanced plate guide comes in. So I'll give you an idea of how I would make up a plate if I was going to have pasta. So in this case, with the mushroom carbonara, I'll probably fill about 1/4 of the plate, as it is essentially the carbohydrate of the meal, which is completely different to how you would usually have pasta, and just fill up the whole plate. I would then think about adding a protein source. So in this case, I've got some really delicious harissa glazed tofu. Protein sauce is also going to take up about 1/4 of the plate, and then we're going to add a few spoonfuls of avocado for some healthy fats. Then a big handful of rocket or any greens that you prefer. Also going to be adding a spoonful of sauerkraut. This is some homemade sauerkraut, and it's going to add some probiotics to the meal
And then just to finish it off, a drizzle of dressing over the rocket and avocado. And there you have a really balanced meal, but still includes some delicious pasta. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you're looking for some more plant-based inspiration, then be sure to check out this video.